So let us get started here with Mangala Charanam. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. So let's go to our verse of memorization that we started on Saturday, but we just had one class last week, so we're going to stick with that one. 10, 11. This is the last verse of the Chaturshloki Gita, chapter 10, text 11. Tesham evanukam partam aham agyanajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavasto jnanadipena bhashvata. Let's do it again. Tesham evanukam partam aham agyanajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavasto jnanadipena bhashvata. So translation. To show them special mercy, I dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. I give the understanding, that's my mercy. I give the understanding.
That's our mercy.
I give the understanding to my devotees so that they can come to me. Jai. All right, maybe at the end of the week we'll say all four of them together. But for now, let's proceed. So chapter 14, text, I think where we left off was text 15. So let's do that. So this is all about the three modes of material nature. And we're reading verses about how the modes bind us, how, and we started talking about the destination after death of people in each mode. So I think we left off on 14. We'll start with 15. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangi shujayate tata pralinas tamasi mudha yoni shujayate. Pragati, would you like to read?
Yep. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in furtive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. I think we did that.
Did we read that one? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we did. Okay, so let's go to 16. Karmana sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam palam rajasastu palam dukam agyanam tamasa palam. Okay, Pragati, go ahead and read that one.
Okay. The result of pious action is pure, and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Purport: the result of pious activities in the mode of goodness is pure. Therefore, the sages who are free from all illusion are situated in happiness, but activities in the mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper, so much human misery has to be undergone before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth, and those who are slaving to construct the building have to render physical toil. The miseries are there. Thus, Bhagavad Gita says that in any activity performed under the spell of the mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be a little so called mental happiness, I have this house or this money, but this is not actual happiness. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and therefore all his activities result in present misery, and afterwards he will go on towards animal life. Animal life is always miserable. Although under the spell of the illusory energy Maya, the animals do not understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is the law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. That is the law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant's being killed. One has to pay for it. So, indulgence in animal killing for the taste of the tongue is the grossest kind of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulges in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and is making his future very dark. Of all kinds of animal killing, the killing of cows is most vicious because the cow gives us all kinds of pleasures by supplying milk. Cow slaughter is an act of the grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, Rig Veda 9:46.4, the words Gobhiya, Priniti, Matsaran indicate that one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing the cow is in the grossest ignorance. There is also a prayer in the Vedic literature that states नमो ब्राह्मण्यदेवाय गोब्राह्मणहित्याय च जगद्धित्या कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. My Lord, you are the well wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas, and you are the well wisher of the entire human society and world. Vishnu Puran 1 1965. The purport is that special mention is given in that prayer for the protection of the cows and the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the symbol of spiritual education, and cows are the symbol of the most valuable food. These two living creatures, the Brahmanas and the cows, must be given all protection. That is real advancement of civilization. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It is to be understood then that human society is advancing in the wrong direction and is clearing the path to its own condemnation. A civilization which guides the citizens to become animals in their next life is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. It is a very dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from the greatest danger.
Jai Prabhupada. Thank you. Yeah, so this is something to always remember is that the mode of passion always leads to misery. Mode of passion means that we want to get some material benefit for ourselves. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of building a skyscraper, that it's just misery from beginning to end, that takes so much money to build, takes so much labor to build, and it's just stressful and distressful. So yeah, and we have experienced that. Like, whenever you try to do something, even if it's the right thing, but you do it for the wrong reasons, right? You do it to try to get some prestige for yourself or try to impress someone in a mundane way or try to get some advantage or opportunity or name and fame or something, it always ends up just being problematic. Even if I remember that if we have this desire to enjoy something, like even we're going to a kirtan event thinking, yeah, I'm going to go have a great time. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to be with my friends. We're going to be eating good food. And you just get into enjoying. It ends up being like kind of disappointing. You end up feeling like, ugh, why did I even come here again? Whereas if you go in a mood of, I just want to get really absorbed in Krishna consciousness. I want to try to serve. I want to serve Krishna by chanting nicely and contribute to the collective, ecstatic Krishna consciousness of everybody there by really focusing and having good sadhana and service while I'm there. Then it's nice, then it's actually ecstatic and enlivening. And yeah, I remember that when we were living in Mayapur, we would go during school break sometimes to Vrindavan because we had our house there and my husband preferred Vrindavan. So yeah, sometimes I would go thinking, yay, we're going to Vrindavan Dham. It's going to be so ecstatic. We're going to go here, go there. And then whenever I would go in that consciousness, something really bad would happen. Or I would just feel like, I don't know, just, what's the word? Just kind of like kind of yucky, just like not like the opposite of ecstatic, just kind of dry and annoyed and overwhelmed. And yeah. But if I would go in the mood of, all right, I'm not going for my own happiness. I'm going just to serve. I'm going to, help. I'm going to, cook for the devotees and clean up afterwards and do service and do some austerity and try to really chant nice rounds and just be a humble servant of the servant. Then it ends up being so nice, like really enriching and enlivening, and you can get a taste for being in the Dham, and yeah, feels very transcendental. So like with everything that we do, if we're doing it in the mode of goodness or, best transcendental platform, then it's going to be nice. It's going to be uplifting, going to be enriching. And even if we're doing something that should, materially speaking, be enjoyable, it's going to be miserable if we're going into it for the wrong reasons, with a materialistic, what's in it for me? How can I enjoy this situation mentality? Because that's the mode of passion. So we always have to check ourselves, like just get the mode of passion out of there and go back to mode of goodness. Like I'm doing, what is my duty in this situation? How can I serve? And then transcendental means how can I please Krishna in this situation? And then everything's going to be nice. So, and pure. Yeah, because the result of pious action in the mode of goodness is we get purified. So okay, and then yeah, Prabhupada talks about mode of ignorance. So he gives the example, the most ignorant activity that you can do is to kill a cow. It's animal killing and especially cow killing. And so, yeah, when one kills animals, one has to become an animal and be killed. And that's it. So we need to know this. Human beings need to know how to avoid becoming an animal and even how to avoid being a miserable human. So this knowledge is very important, very relevant for us. Okay, any thoughts on that? Okay, then let's go on to text 17. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam rajyaso lobha eva cha pramada moho tamaso bhavato jnanam eva cha. Draupadi, you there? Would you like to read?
Hi, Bull, can you hear me? I'm
Yeah.
on my laptop.
You're good.
Translation. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Purport. Since the present civilization is not very congenial to the living entities, Krishna consciousness is recommended. Through Krishna consciousness, society will develop the mode of goodness. When the mode of goodness is developed, people will see things as they are. In the mode of ignorance, people are just like animals and cannot see things clearly. In the mode of ignorance, for example, they do not see that by killing one animal, they are taking the chance of being killed by the same animal in the next life. Because people have no education in actual knowledge, they become irresponsible. To stop this irresponsibility, education for developing the mode of goodness of the people in general must be there. When they are actually educated in the mode of goodness, they will become sober, in full knowledge of things as they are. Then people will be happy and prosperous. Even if the majority of the people aren't happy and prosperous, if a certain percentage of the population develops Krishna consciousness and becomes situated in the mode of goodness, then there is the possibility for peace and prosperity all over the world. Otherwise, if the world is devoted to the modes of passion and ignorance, there can be no peace or prosperity. In the mode of passion, people become greedy, and their hankering for sense enjoyment has no limit. One can see that even if one has enough money and adequate arrangements for sense gratification, there is neither happiness nor peace of mind. That is not possible because one is situated in the mode of passion. If one wants happiness at all, his money will not help him. He has to elevate himself to the mode of goodness by practicing Krishna consciousness. When one is engaged in the mode of passion, not only is he mentally unhappy, but his profession and occupation are also very troublesome. He has to devise so many plans and schemes to acquire money to maintain his status quo. This is all miserable. In the mode of ignorance, people become mad. Being distressed by their circumstances, they take shelter of intoxication, and thus they sink further into ignorance. Their future in life is very dark.
Okay, yeah. So I like how Prabhupada says, if one wants happiness at all, his money will not help him. Everybody is into this big illusion that money is going to make you happy. And if you're not happy, it's because you just don't have enough money or you haven't figured out how to spend it in the way that's actually going to bring you happiness. But Prabhupada's like, no, if you want happiness at all, your money is not going to help you. Because money doesn't bring happiness. What brings happiness is the mode of goodness. So we really have to come to the mode of goodness. And Prabhupada says that this can be done through Krishna consciousness. He starts off saying that this present civilization is not very congenial for the living entities. It's terrible because the present civilization is operating under the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. So it's just basically destroying us. It's causing distress, like just global misery. Everywhere we go, distress and darkness and dark futures for, present life and the next life. But Prabhupada was saying through Krishna consciousness, we were reading those verses, right, from Srimad Bhagavatam that talk about how by serving the devotees, you get a taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing about Krishna. And then by hearing about Krishna, then Krishna becomes happy. He becomes very attentive and he starts cleaning our hearts. And in due course of time, we get free from the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance and their results, which are lust and greed and anger and hankering and all those things. And then we become peaceful and we become happy and we get knowledge, causeless knowledge and detachment from the world, and everything becomes nice by the mode of goodness. So yeah, devotional service is the answer. Can bring us, removes the modes of passion and ignorance, brings us to the mode of pure goodness and transcendental platform where it's not just happiness and knowledge, but it's spiritual bliss, which is a whole other level of happiness. So this is what we need to go for. And Prabhupada is emphasizing education, right? That we need to have education for developing the mode of goodness. People need to and that's why Prabhupada was eager to start nice schools for children so that children can grow up learning how to be clean, learning how to be dutiful, learning how to be disciplined, learning how to be austere, to have a service attitude, to value humility and honesty and integrity and gratitude and things like that, so that they can be happy, and create a situation in the world of happiness and goodness and knowledge and illumination. Because Prabhupada said it's not that everyone in the world needs to come to the mode of goodness for the world to change. If just a certain proportion. And there's one purport where he says that even if 1% of the population becomes Krishna conscious, the whole situation of the world will change. It's that powerful. So, yeah, we need to try to be more Krishna conscious ourselves, and invest time, energy, and money into education for children and youth and adults, for how to come to the mode of goodness. And that's what Krishna is trying to teach us here. So we just need to, Krishna's basically given us all the basics here for how to live in the mode of goodness. And we just need to read it, understand it, teach it to others, practice it, demonstrate it, so that people can follow the example and we can change the world, right? We can bring about happiness and prosperity even here in the material world in Kali Yuga. All right. So it's up to us what we want to do, right? But it all starts with us. They say, be the change that you want to see in the world. So if everybody decides that, yes, I'm going to be the change, I'm going to live in the mode of goodness, then there'll be a change, right? But I think it's like Mahatma Prabhu was one time giving a seminar or a class, and he was saying, when you ask people, do you want to see, do you want change? If you ask people, do you want change? Then everybody's going to say, yes, I want change in the world. I want change in my life. I want change, and things need to change. But then if you ask the same person, do you want to change? Then it's a little bit harder, right? Most people, they want to see change around them, but they're not willing to change themselves. So if we don't change ourselves, things are not going to change. It starts right here. Okay. All right, let's go onward. So Krishna again is going to talk about the destination, where people go in these different modes. Urdvam gachanti sattvasta, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jaganya guna vrittista, adho gachanti tamasaha. Before we read that, I was just thinking about this thing of education and Krishna conscious education. And, in ISKCON, we've tried so hard to establish, Krishna conscious education. And it's really the solution for so many things. And I think Maya knows that. And so she's done everything possible to undermine Krishna conscious education, so many schools in ISKCON, there's been different kinds of abuse, and they've had to be shut down, or education just doesn't happen in that kind of environment where people are mistreated and abused. And, we've lost generations of children because they were mistreated. And yeah, the whole thing backfires. So education needs to be done properly. It needs to be done appropriately. If we're trying to educate people in the mode of goodness, then the teachers need to be in the mode of goodness. The administrators need to be in the mode of goodness. Otherwise, you're trying to teach people Krishna conscious principles, but you've got the leaders of those projects doing demoniac things. Like, how is it going to work? It's just not going to work. It's going to end up being the little Sunda and Amarka school. And that's what happens. Everybody's just trying to get revenge on the people that mistreated them. And yeah. So we need to be very, very strong. Anybody who's a Brahmin, who's a teacher, who's serving in education, needs to be very, very strong spiritually, and needs to also be vigilant and have good oversight and intervene when things are not going right, because it's very, very delicate and very essential that education happens properly. Okay, 18. All right. Who wants to, oh, Lavanga, would you like to read 18, verse and purport?
I just now realized that's where we are, so I need a minute to get there, but I can
Okay.
read the next one for you if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Who would like to read? Aruna or
Yes, I can read.
okay, cool.
Okay. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Purport. In this verse, the result of actions in the three modes of nature are more explicitly set forth. There is an upper planetary system consisting of the planetary of heavenly planets where everyone is highly elevated. According to the degree of development of the mode of goodness, the living entity can be transferred to the various planets in this system. The highest planet is Satyaloka or Brahmaloka, where the prime person of this universe, Lord Brahma, resides. We have seen already that we can hardly calculate the wondrous conditions of life in Brahmaloka, but the highest condition of life, the mode of goodness, can bring us to this. The mode of passion is mixed. It is in the middle between the mode of goodness and ignorance. A person not always pure, but even if he should be purely in the mode of passion, he would simply remain on this earth as a king or a rich man. But because there are mixtures, one can also go down. People on this earth, in the mode of passion or ignorance, cannot forcibly approach the higher planets by machine. In the mode of passion, there is also the chance of becoming mad in the next life. The lowest quality, the mode of ignorance, is described here as abominable. The result of developing ignorance is very, very risky. It is the lowest quality in the material nature. Beneath the human level, there are 8 million species of life birds, beasts, reptiles, trees, etc. And according to the development of mode of ignorance, people are brought down to these abominable conditions. The word tamasaha is very significant here. Tamasaha indicates those who stay continuously in the mode of ignorance without rising to a higher mode. Their future is very dark. There is an opportunity for man in the mode of ignorance and passion to be elevated to the mode of goodness, and that system is called Krishna consciousness. Because one who does not take advantage of the opportunity can certainly continue in the lower modes.
Thank you. I think in the last class we were talking about how when you going on vacation, you make your bookings, right? According to your means, according to your financial means, you book, like a 5-star hotel or a 3-star hotel or a, campsite or something. So in the same way we can, according to the modes of nature that we're situated in, that's going to determine our experience in the next life. So we can, make our bookings for the next life by placing ourselves in a particular combination of the three modes of material nature, and that will determine, well, where we're going in the next life. So if we're very high in the mode of goodness, like very almost purely mode of goodness, then we can go to the highest planet in this material world, Brahmaloka, where everything is wonderful. And, if we're kind of like in the mode of good, mainly in the mode of goodness, but influenced by passion, we still have some desire for, enjoying and controlling material things, then we'll go to a higher planet that's a little lower than Brahmaloka, like, heavenly planets like Swargaloka. And then if we're mainly influenced by the mode of passion, but it's tinged with goodness, then we can have a good position in this material as a human on earth, right? Like a king or a rich person. But if passion is mixed with ignorance, then we'll have, we can get a human birth, but not a great human birth, right? Like born into a low family or maybe, see, because we are reading about how ignorance brings about foolishness, madness, and illusion. So predominance of ignorance will get one, like passion with a lot of ignorance mixed in. One can take birth as a human being, but be, have mental issues, like nowadays, because there's so much passion and especially ignorance in the world, then a lot of children are born with yeah, I mean, mental health disorders, because ignorance produces madness. And so you get, children with, schizophrenia and bipolarism and what's that thing called that almost everybody has nowadays?
ADHD.
ADHD, that's it, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so many children are born with these challenges. And it's due to influence of the mode of ignorance, how it affects the consciousness, it affects the mind. So you get a human birth, which is great, but you have these challenges because the mode of ignorance makes everything dark and difficult. So, and then if you predominantly the mode of ignorance, then you don't even get a human birth. You get, one of the other 8 million species of life, animals or plants, or, in a hellish planet or something, if you're ignorant and sinful, like very sinful, then. So, yeah, there's this whole, it's called like a stratum, like a whole range of options or destinations where we can go, types of bodies we can get, places where we're going to be born with those bodies, experiences that we're going to have in those bodies. And it's so much due to the influence of the modes. So we have to really understand how these modes influence us. Yes, Lavanga.
Question about the mode of goodness. Since it was mentioned in this verse, and you also said, I think in the last verse, that Prabhupada had said if 1% becomes, like 1% of the population becomes in the mode of goodness, that it can change things. And often I hear, not every devotee, but I hear this in Bhagavatam classes from a few devotees, that they talk about the condition of Kali Yuga. And like, oh, after 10,000 years, things are gonna get really bad, and like there's basically gonna be no hope. It's almost like a doomsday type of scenario they present. And I was wondering, if by is it possible, I guess, by giving the example of the mode of goodness and preaching Krishna consciousness, that we could actually counteract the future effects of Kali Yuga, like if 1% becomes in the mode of goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it says, that that Krishna consciousness can counteract the influence of the age of Kali, right? That Lord Chaitanya's mercy, there's a song that's like Kali Kukura Nashana, this dog of Kali is destroyed by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and those who follow his instructions to chant the holy name. Okay? So it's just a question of whether people are going to do it, right?
Right. No, I appreciate that, because I wondered that, because I hear some people take, like, when they preach about the future effects of Kali Yuga, it can almost seem like there's no hope, there's nothing you can do, it's all going to hell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is a special Kali Yuga because Lord Chaitanya appeared in this Kali Yuga. So this is, the one Kali Yuga out of 1,000 Kali Yugas in the day of Brahma, that there's a hope to counteract the influence of Kali, and it doesn't have to be the way that it's described in the Bhagavatam, or different places where everyone's just eating each other and really bad. Yeah.
Going up into the mountains.
Yeah, the devotees are having to hide out in the hills so they don't get eaten for dinner by some other lowly humans. Okay, let's go to text 19. So now we're going into another section here, which is what we have to understand to be able to transcend the modes. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada jastanupashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam sodigachati. All right, Lavanga, your turn.
All right. When one properly sees in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Purport. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from proper souls. The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting this spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully Krishna conscious that one has to learn this science of activities in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. By the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know of his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is entrapped, and how he is under the spell of the material modes of nature. He is helpless, being in the grip of these modes. But when he can see his real position, he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. Actually, the living entity is not the performer of different activities. He is forced to act because he is situated in a particular type of body, conducted by some particular mode of material nature. Unless one has the help of spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position, and by such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of the material modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases.
Jai. All right. Yeah, so Krishna is saying that if we can just understand two things. One, that in all activities, no other performer is at work except these modes of nature. That's one thing. We have to understand that we are actually in the grip of these modes. That's what Prabhupada says. We're like tied up. Remember, because the modes of nature are like ropes. So we're tied up by these ropes. And if your hands are tied up and your feet are tied up, then what are you going to do? You need to call out for help from somebody who's not tied up. And who is that person? Krishna. So that's the second thing that we need to know, is that the Supreme Lord is transcendental to all these modes. So we need to understand that, yes, I am totally bound and tied up and restrained and helpless in the grip of these modes. And two, Krishna isn't. He's totally free, and he is totally capable and ready and willing to untie me and release me. And so knowing those two things, what's an intelligent person going to do?
Surrender to Krishna.
Oh, Krishna.
Yeah, call out to Krishna for help, surrender to Krishna, take his guidance for how to get out and stay out from the influence of these modes of material nature. And Krishna says that one who does that very easily crosses over this material energy in its three different forms, three different modes. So simple, right? We just need to admit the fact, recognize and admit that, yes, I'm controlled by the modes of nature. I don't like it. It's really messing me up. It's causing me a lot of problems. It's keeping me in this material world, birth after birth, body after body, struggling with my mind and senses. But if I just surrender to Krishna, Krishna will immediately release me from these modes. And yeah. And then when he does that, then things start to change, right? Life becomes different. And that's what Krishna is going to say in the next, he's going to describe that in the next verse. So let's go to text 20. Gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukar vimukto amritam ashnute. Oh, do we have Arjuna there?
I'm here.
Would you like to read?
Yes.
Text 20.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, it can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. How one can stay in the transcendental position even in this body is in full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word dehi means embody. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement, and this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the reward for surrendering to Krishna and getting free from the influence of the modes of nature, is that no more birth, death, old age, or disease, and the threefold miseries caused by our own bodies and minds, miseries caused by other people and other living entities, and miseries caused by natural forces, the weather and natural disasters and so forth. They all subside, and we can taste nectar even in this life. Amritam ashnute. Literally mean, so vimukta means getting freed from all those things. So we become liberated from these material distresses. And amritam means nectar, and ashnute means to enjoy. So life becomes like a piece of cake. Becomes a glass of nectar. Yeah. So devotees who are really on the transcendental platform, yeah, they transcend all these difficulties, and they're happy, even though they may be in old bodies with, usually when you're in an old body, it means a lot of aches and pains and things don't work right, and it's annoying. But you see a lot of old devotees who are just very blissful, just always like smiling and compassionate and helping others, and very lucid, speaking and giving this spiritual knowledge to others. Yeah. So this is the happiness of spiritual life. So this is the magic of Krishna consciousness, is that even in the material body, we can experience the happiness of spiritual life. Because we're not acting on the platform of the body, we're acting on the platform of the soul. And so we're transcending all these material influences of the modes. So this is really a wonderful thing about Krishna consciousness, is even that you don't have to wait until death to be liberated from material suffering. You can be liberated in this life. And then when one gets liberated from the influence of the modes, then that's when devotional service really kind of takes off, right? That's what Prabhupada was saying. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of nature, he enters into devotional service. Because while we're under the modes, our devotional service is not pure, right? Because it's influenced by the material modes. It gets contaminated by those modes. And so it doesn't give all the results that devotional service can give. But as soon as we get free from the influence of the modes, then our devotional service really goes to the next level. And then we start, really tasting the nectar of the pure holy name. We start really relishing Srimad Bhagavatam, tasting the rasa, the nectar of Krishna Katha, and the experiencing relishing the nectar of loving exchanges between devotees, because there's no more envy, there's no more lust, just pure loving dealings between devotees. So these things are also relishable. When we go to the holy dham or go to the holy dham, you actually can experience this is the spiritual world. It's not just like a geographical location where, Krishna or Lord Chaitanya, someone came and, now it's just like a dusty wasteland or whatever. It's actually the spiritual world, and you can experience it as such. And when you see the deity, you don't just see a nicely decorated stone statue, but you actually experience the presence of the Lord. So yeah, when we're free from the influence of these modes, then we really enter into devotional service. We enter into pure chanting. We enter into the holy dham. We enter into pure loving relationships with devotees. We enter into reciprocal devotional exchanges with the deity, Lord, in the form of the deity. and we enter into Srimad Bhagavatam, we get pulled into the pastimes and we really feel it. You know, we connect deeply with the pastimes and the personalities of Bhagavatam, especially in 10th canto, Krishna's eternal associates. And we get a lot of very deep insights. So this is all possible once we get free from the modes of material nature. We enter into all these things and really taste the nectar of Krishna consciousness, the nectar of the holy name and everything else. So this is something to look forward to, right? We just need to keep going. Okay, so now Arjuna gets very interested. He's like, wow, that sounds fantastic. He's like, this sounds really great. I want to be there. I want to, even if I'm not on that level, I want to at least know somebody that's on that level. I want to associate with somebody who's transcendental to the low modes of material nature. So how do I identify such a person? And now he's going to ask for, you know, the key features for how to know whether ourselves or someone else is on the transcendental platform. So Arjuna will ask about this. Text 21. Arjuna uvacha karlingais trin gunan etan hatito bhavati prabho kim achara katam chaitams trin gunan ativartate. Kritika, are you able to read? Or otherwise we'll go back to Pragati.
Yeah. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature? Purport. In this verse, Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. He wants to know the symptoms of a person who has already transcended the material modes. He first inquires of the symptoms of such a transcendental person. How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of the modes of material nature? The second question asks how he lives and what his activities are. Are they regulated or non regulated? Then Arjuna inquires of the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. That is very important. Unless one knows the direct means by which one can be situated always transcendently, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So, all these questions put by Arjuna are very important, and the Lord answers them.
Okay, thank you. Does this sound familiar to something that we heard before in Bhagavad Gita? Arjuna's questions here?
Yeah, like in
Uh,
the second chapter.
and when Arjuna asked who is the knower and knowable and that?
No, that's like a different thing. It's in the second chapter, yeah, Lavanga. So Lavanga, what were those questions, Lavanga?
It's like how does the transcendentalist sit? How does he walk? You know,
Yeah,
yeah. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but it's very similar to this.
it's very, very similar. Yeah, so in chapter 2, text 54, Arjuna says, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk? And here he's saying, O Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? How does he transcend the modes of nature? So it's very similar, right? So any ideas why Arjuna is asking this again, or how it's different from what he asked before? Well, then I'll have to tell you. Because here, see, now it's chapter 14, he's describing the three modes of material nature. So before Krishna was talking about, you know, the qualities of a person who's transcendental, but he hadn't mentioned what it is that they had to transcend. So now that Krishna is saying that these are the things that need to be transcended, these goodness, passion, and ignorance, now it's kind of like adding another dimension to Arjuna's understanding. It's like he found some more pieces to the puzzle, and so he wants to get it put together in a way that makes a clear picture. So yeah. And his questions are going beyond just what is his behavior, but it's how does he transcend them? So the focus here is on transcending the modes. Okay, so now Krishna is going to answer. Oh, we don't have a lot of time. Let's do it. We can always continue this tomorrow. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava nadveshti sampravrittani nanivrittani kankshati vidasina vad asino gunaryo na vichalyate gunavartanta ityevam yovatishtati nengate samaduka sukha swasta Samaloshtasmatkanchanaha Tulya Priya Priya Dhiras Tulya Nindatma Samstuti Mana Pamanayos Tulyas Tulyo Mitra Ripakshayo Sarvaramba Parityagi Gunatita Sa Uchyate. Right. Do you want to read Draupadi?
Okay. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Purport. Arjuna submitted these three different questions, and the Lord answers them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendentally situated has no envy and does not hanker for anything. When a living entity stays in the material world, embodied by a material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the three modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord, so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. When one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendentally situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. The next question concerns the dealings of a transcendentally situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered to the body, but the transcendentally situated person is not affected by such false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honors or dishonors him. He accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or gold. He takes everyone as his dear friend who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness, and he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with material existence. Social and political issues do not affect him because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendently situated.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so here Krishna is answering the first question. First question is, what is his behavior? So this is the behavior of a person on the transcendental platform. And basically the behavior is that he's very aloof, right? He's just equipoised. People might honor him, people might dishonor him. It might be cold, it might be hot. He might have a piece of stone, he might have a piece of gold. It doesn't matter. Situation may be desirable, may be undesirable. Who cares? It is what it is. Because the person in transcendental consciousness, he's literally beyond these material things. He knows that I'm not this body, I'm a soul, and the soul's not affected by anything material. So then he's not affected by anything material. He's not affected by any of the material changes. He doesn't, first thing that Krishna says is he does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear. So this is directly referring to the modes because we heard Krishna explain that illumination is the result of the mode of goodness. Attachment is the result of the mode of passion, and delusion is the result of the mode of ignorance. And because the person on the transcendental platform is beyond all these modes, he's also beyond illumination, attachment, and delusion. He just not interested at all, not concerned. If they're there, fine. If they're not, fine. And in any case, it's fine because his existence, his happiness is not coming from the modes. His life is not hinging on which mode of nature is prominent because he's beyond the modes. So it's kind of like, the modes are like waves of the ocean. And if you're in the ocean, the waves are pushing you around and you're very much affected by the waves, what they're doing. But if you're like, on in a helicopter flying above the ocean, then those waves don't affect you. Right? The sea can be calm, the sea can be rough, the sea can be whatever. It can be polluted, it can have like dangerous sharks in it. It just doesn't affect you because you're not in it. So it's the same thing. Honor, dishonor, attachment, illusion, illumination, happiness, distress, whatever. All these things are going on, but it's all like down there, and the transcendentals is up here. Like the example of the lotus flower, that it's growing in the middle of the water, but the leaves, the petals are not touched by the water at all. So that's what it means too. The person who's transcended the modes of nature lives like that, lives on a higher platform, is not disturbed by all these material changes, the ups and downs. Lavanga?
Are you able to hear me? I just put my earphones in.
What's that? I can hear you. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I was okay. I was making sure. I heard this analogy that you were giving about the waves in the ocean. And like another way, I was talking about how like when we begin Krishna consciousness, like it's kind of like when you're first going out into the ocean, the waves are hitting you, and like like they're kind of like knocking you down. But if you keep walking, eventually you get beyond the point where like the waves, they're not smashing you so much. The ocean is very like smooth. You know what I'm talking about? And so I've heard it explained like this, rising above the modes of nature. If you just keep going on the path of Krishna consciousness, eventually you'll get to the point, where these waves that are hitting you, these modes basically are not affecting you as much because you've gone beyond that. But in the very beginning, it's hard. It's kind of like when you first step out into the ocean, you can't really swim because it's like crashing on you.
Yeah.
But if you just continue with the process of going out into the ocean, then usually it gets smoother and you can swim and relax and do whatever. So.
Yeah. Yeah, good example. So anybody who's ever swam in the ocean can relate to this example, because if you just go like, a few feet into the ocean, it's like the waves are just like crashing and crashing, and you're getting pushed back and pulled forward and pushed back and pulled forward, and sometimes knocked down and all that, spun around and water up your nose, and it's difficult. So when you go into the ocean, well, first of all, you have to know how to swim. And then you need to just like plow through all that and just like push through all those waves and get out to deeper water. And then you can just like, whee! There's no more like whitewater waves. They're just these rolling waves. And you can literally just go, whee! You're just like floating. And it's actually like, it's nice. It's very peaceful and soothing and enjoyable. So yeah, the beginning of Krishna consciousness is like you're just getting smashed by the modes. Well, that's kind of like before you even get to Krishna consciousness, you're getting smashed like anything. And then when you first start coming to Krishna consciousness, like you have some process for how to like navigate them. At least when you see the wave coming, you know you dive under it, right? And then you can escape it. So you chant Hare Krishna and you can kind of like have a minimal impact of the wave. But if you keep going, then you go out into that nice smooth water further out. And then if you keep going, then a boat appears there and you get on. So now you're on the boat and then you're not even like wet anymore. But you're still like on the waves are still making the boat go up and down, but they're not bothering you. And then if you stay on there, then helicopter comes along and drops down the ladder and you climb up there and woohoo, no more waves at all disturbing you. So it's completely peaceful. Yeah.
And along the way, you have help too. If you can't navigate the waves and you get knocked down by them, devotees, spiritual master will come save you. Kind of like
Yeah.
that time we went to the beach and you had to save that one that one devotee that was like drowning.
Itai.
Do you remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, good. Any other thoughts about this? Transcending the modes or the behavior of a transcendental person?
I was just in California in those waves, so I fully understood this analogy.
Oh, you were swimming there in the ocean in California?
Yeah. And I was there with the kids and they decided to be like right in that crashing zone. I was like, that's not a good spot. And they all got nailed.
Oh no. Yeah. So yeah, it's like Prabhupada would say, don't stay. There's different levels of devotees, right? The Kanishta, the Madhyam, and the Uttam Adhikari. So he would always say, don't stay on the Kanishta platform because it's very dangerous. And at least get yourself like perform your Krishna consciousness, your sadhana, your service and everything very intensely and sincerely and come to the Madhya stage because then it's more stable. Kanishta, you're always just up and down and getting disturbed by everything everybody says and your own mind and your senses and everything. But when you become like a little more advanced, then it's much smoother. All right. Jai. So we'll end here and we'll pick it up again tomorrow with Krishna answering the question, how does one transcend the modes of nature? Jai.
thank you.
Right.
Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai.
Jai.
Oh, let me see what's happening out here on YouTube. So let us get started here with Mangala Charna. Just a second. Not many people there. Everyone's just saying Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Radharani. Okay, fine. No challenging questions
You
today.
didn't do class last week, did you, Prabhu?
What's that?
You didn't do class last week, did you?
No, only just Saturday because I was at my father's house and there's no like Wi-Fi and the internet signals there is very, very bad and yeah, now I'm in Toronto.
Yeah, I probably didn't think you took quite a minute to realize you were back because it took me a minute. I had to see the notifications.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I should add you to the community group and then you'll know the Dallas community group.
Thank you for the Hare
Okay, well,
Krishna.
thanks for being here. Prabhupada ki jai, Hari Bol.